Great, thanks everybody. We'll go ahead and start our Consortium of Cities meeting for Boulder County. Today is December 3rd, 2025. My name is Martha Loachmin, County Commissioner, and I am really excited about the agenda that we have this evening and our opportunity to be virtual given the weather and all those circumstances, but want to appreciate all the work this year. This is our last meeting of 2025, which seems wild. But this group has been able to continue to bring in different perspectives, share ideas, and really do some thought leadership around issues that all of us are facing, but feel different, look different, are being treated differently, and certainly funded differently. And so I just want to appreciate everybody for staying engaged in the work this year, and also want to appreciate staff because as I try and remind everyone, electeds, we are on call all the time. That's our choice, but our staff, that's not probably what they're envisioning for their support roles. And yet they show up and they provide us with information and they're able to do the really tough question and answer because as elected, we don't always know and don't need to know exactly all the background, but and or all the logistics of how things are done, but to be able to understand and connect us together in the work is really helpful. So I just want to appreciate everybody. And we'll do some introductions. And again, thanks, Mark and Nick, for getting us set up on the Zoom this evening so that we didn't have to unnecessarily deal with the weather. Although in person is always a great time with this group. So let me see. I'm going to do my best here. We'll do introductions first. And if I get the title wrong, please correct me if you want to do your name. And if your title doesn't have the area of the region that you're in, please feel free to add that just so folks know and can connect. Use the chat, however it's helpful to you. So if there's an idea, but you don't have an opportunity to ask about it, or you think about it as someone else is presenting this evening, please do use that because that's our opportunity to really network in meaningful ways around our region. And so we'll start with Council Member Pesarmeli, and then Carla, and then Council Member Fahey, and then Heather. I just want to come off and do a quick introduction. And I realize some people might be switching devices and or getting to places. So go ahead and we'll do our best. Neil, are you at a spot where you can do an introduction?
Yeah.
And if not, we'll keep going down the list and come back. So I think Councilmember Fahey, you're next.
Hello, yes, Councilmember Deborah Fahey from Louisville.
Thank you.
I think I was next. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Stauffer. I'm the new Intergovernmental Affairs Officer for the City of Boulder. I'm sorry to not be able to see everyone in person, but I am grateful that we don't have to be out in the snow tonight for sure. So hope to see everyone in person at the next one. But I'm happy to be here. And I know many of you from my previous role at CML, but I'm here at City of Boulder now. So thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for joining. Carla, I think you were next.
Yeah, my next. I'm Carla Hunter. I'm a Niwot resident, and I'm representing Niwot as an observer.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And then, so we'll go to Mayor Rogan and then Councilmember Cowish and then Jen in Longmont. And then we've got a Jennifer in Boulder.
Evening, everybody. Holly Rogan, the mayor of Lyons. Heather, it is so great to see you, and we miss you at CML, just FYI.
Thanks for joining.
I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Jen Cowish. I'm a council member for the town of Superior.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Pensino with the City of Boulder. I work with Heather in the city manager's office, and I'm the city's economic vitality manager. Thank you for inviting me.
Great, thank you.
Hi, and I'm Jen Uten. I'm an assistant city manager at the city of Longmont. Um, and I'm happy to be with all the Jens.
That's so great, thank you. All right, I think I've got the Jen section here. So let's go to Julian and then Ken. And then it looks like Councilmember Delgadillo and then Peyton.
If that was for Julian, that's me. I'm
Thanks,
Julian.
Julian.
No worries. I'm Julian Jackman. I'm the Economic Development Director for the town of Erie with Councilmember Pesarmelli, who looks like he's on as well. Our communications director was on this invite and invited me to attend tonight.
Great. We're glad that you're here, and
Thank you.
I will try to remember that next time I see your name.
Oh, that's fine. It's on my phone, so I'm not on a video tonight.
That's okay.
Kellen Arsick, Town Administrator for Jamestown.
Thanks for joining, Ken.
Hi there, my name is Peyton. I'm a senior project manager with Boulder County. One of my projects is economic vitality. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you joining in.
And hey everyone, I'm Paloma Delgadillo. I'm a council member for Ward 2 of Broomfield, Colorado.
Thank you for being here. And then it looks like we'll go to Sama and then Councilmember McCoy and then Yvette.
Everyone, I'm Sama Fox, City of Louisville Deputy City Manager.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sean McCoy. I'm a Longmont City Council member and newly elected Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, congrats. I didn't stay that long in the meeting last night at the chamber to hear that update. Excuse me.
Yes, congrats. Hi, everybody. Yvette Bowden. I'm the Deputy County Administrator for Boulder County. I work with Peyton in the Office of County Administrator, where we also include our economic vitality initiatives.
Thank you for being here, Yvette. And then Anil, we missed you earlier. I don't know if you're at a spot where you can introduce yourself. And if I miss someone else, please let me know. I'm thinking maybe Mark.
Hi, this is Anil Besramelli, council member from Town of Erie.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
And good evening, everyone. Hold on here. Yeah. Not sure what's going on with my camera, but Mark Rosen here in the Commissioner's office. Happy to support the consortium. I've worked with Nick Robles in the Commissioner's office, and we've been supporting the consortium for a number of years. It's a super fun group, and glad to be here this evening.
Thank you. You're on the bridge. That's why your frequency was so off.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate your help. And also for jumping in for Nick so he could do some family holiday events this week. So everyone's being pulled in different directions, and we appreciate that. So let me see here. I just want to make sure if the agenda got put in the chat, and I was in a different screen, so it might be there.
It is, yes.
Thank you. And with Zoom, it's a little different than our team. So if we see somebody else pop in, I'll try and remind you, just because you don't see things, if you don't see the history in Zoom the way that we will in like Teams. So let's see here. We'll go through our agenda really quick just to make sure there wasn't anything else that somebody was hoping to add to that. And so we've got our topic this evening is business development. And the only thing that is hard virtually is it's hard for me to nudge you or give you an elbow, especially when presentations are on the screen, on your time. So if we try and be cognizant of that 5 to 7 minute time. And we want to make sure that we have time for questions and conversation between folks. And may have time this evening after we hear everyone's presentation to do a little bit of dialogue, maybe ideas that cross over and things like that. And a reminder to use the chat if there's things that you want to follow up with. And then we have an update on the regional working group on homelessness. And then also what we were thinking to talk about was the prioritizing of topics for 2026 meetings. We're actually not going to do that, but I'll give you a little bit of update in regards to that section, because that will get finished in February at the February meeting. So appreciate kind of the pre-work people have started to do on that. And then we'll have an opportunity to talk about updates, community events. Is there anything else from an agenda standpoint that folks were hoping to hear about this evening? Okay, that's great. And if we finish our meeting early, we can always finish a meeting early. So just want to say that. All right, so let's start with our the business development presentations. And if you sent your presentation this evening or in the last few hours to Nick by chance, since Nick is usually our staff person, please get that over to Mark, or we will help you share on your own screen and we'll be graceful.
Yeah.
But
Yes, Commissioner, all of our attendees are able to share screen. So you should be able to drive your presentation straight from your computer. If you are on a phone or aren't able to do that, please do email it to me, and I'm happy to do that for you as well. But everyone should be able to present their own presentations.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, so is there somebody that would like to start, or should I pick an order?
You should pick.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to try and do my best to go not alphabetical order, but the other direction. So I feel like that might be superior. No, is that right? Hmm.
I'm happy to go first if it helps move this along.
That's totally fine. Thanks.
Apologies, I have family eating a rowdy dinner in the room behind me, so if it gets noisy, just I'm gonna just go with it. Um, so I have something prepared, like that's written, and it's a little more technical, so I'm gonna read it. But then I also want to just kind of share my personal thoughts on like what what we're doing. So we have a lot going on here actually from the business development perspective. The town is supporting businesses through attraction and really a lot of retention efforts for us because we have a lot of newly developed spaces that are a lot of vacancies right now of things that have just come online and being built. So we're working closely with the brokers and the property owners and retail coach to provide data, contacts, and just doing a lot of active promotion of the commercial sites. And our staff participate in regional real estate and business conferences and assist prospective businesses with site selection, creative incentives, trying to figure out ways to attract businesses to the spaces that we have, and then offering incentives with things like new business, the build outs for the newly built structures that haven't had any previous businesses in them before. The business retention it's really strengthened through our partnership with Boulder County, like the SBDC or the Small Business Development Center, and our Chamber of Commerce, which works with. We do a lot with our chamber locally in the community, and not only it's the Superior Chamber, but there's a lot of folks that are members of the chamber that aren't businesses that are actually in Superior, so it is a regional effort. But workshops, ribbon cuttings, we do. It seems like there's a ribbon cutting every month, which is a great thing, for the community because those places are starting to get filled up. We do regular business site visits. I think, one of the biggest ways we track the metrics is through the vacancy rates here, and sales tax trends and kind of the ratio of incoming versus outgoing businesses. We're participating with the US 36 Collaborative and the Hub for Health initiative. And then collaboration through, Metro Denver, Economic Development Corporation's Front Range Economic Collaborative, Economic Development Council of Colorado, Downtown Colorado Inc. And then discussions with Boulder Chamber, See Boulder, Visit Boulder. So all the regional kind of entities in the business lane. So that's all the stuff that we're doing. But I think from a perspective of just in my last 3 years on the council, I think we've been looking at how we attract businesses into the community because prior to just a few years ago, we didn't really have any new offerings. So it was really about just getting businesses in development that are already there in the like Target, Costco areas, smaller spaces. But when the downtown Superior came online, all of a sudden we had a ton of retail space that we were able to kind of look at things differently and plan for a longer 5 or 10 year rollout of how we were going to get folks in there. And I think one of the things we struggle with is, as a town, we don't own, like the developer is filling those spaces. And so we don't have a lot of control over how it's marketed or what, who's coming in there. And as someone who coming into this project that was approved 10 years ago and now I'm, working on it, I've often been very frustrated with the agreements that were made, before people, best intentions, but sometimes I feel like we find ourselves frustrated with not having a lot of control over what the developers do and seeing the vacancies. Like it's disappointing for the community and we want to see more. But I also recognize, COVID, we had the Marshall Fire and just economically things have been, inflation and there are a lot of factors that have nothing to do with the developer, right? And so just it's I'm hopeful economic, this the our country and where we're at right now, and I feel people starting to restrict, so I'm a little concerned, about what that's going to look like as we move forward. I think everybody in these roles is worried about those kinds of things, but we're very hopeful for Sundance coming here and seeing what kind of relationships or things that we might be able to connect and grow in that lane. But otherwise, we're trying. We're trying to do all the things. And we have a new economic development manager that came on about 6 months ago, and she's just been fantastic. And she just brings a different lens to things than previous folks that were in the role. So we've been having a lot of fun with kind of pivoting a bit from what it was to a new way to look at things. And yeah, I think that'll wrap it up.
That's great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Do folks have any questions for Superior? Mayor Pro Tem McCoy.
Hi, Jen. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And I was talking with my colleague, Jesse Jensen. He's the son of Anne Marie Jensen, who just got recently elected.
Yeah.
And we were just talking, because we both teach social studies, and we were talking a little bit about the issue around mixed use development, where some of these folks, and he pointed out specifically in Superior around the athletic stable there, where development had gone in, but that mixed use underneath was being held out and not being almost like they were waiting out. And he had been Joe Negus's campaign manager when he ran for region, and then a lobbyist for many years. So he's pretty astute on many of these things. And he was noticing how they were like waiting for that larger
like anchor
sort of go in there. And I think we need to regionally look at this from a point of view of maybe like we've done with affordable housing, saying, wait a second, maybe we need to get that type of thing going so that we can help the mom and pop businesses come in to those areas, because if they're going to wait it out, that's not the spirit of mixed use development, even in the slightest way. And I just think that would be a good thing regionally, where they can't go, well, we're going to play Superior off of Louisville and Lafayette and Longmont and say, no, you're going to try to get some sort of smaller, maybe even artisanal sort of business in there, and not wait for the anchor to come in and offset the cost of that vacancy with rent prices going up. So yeah. I think we need to think about that. And that could be a good thing for the consortium to look at in the future year.
Yeah. I will say so there's a wine, I always get the concept wrong. It's like a brewery, but it's a wine restaurant called Bigsby's Folly, and they're in Denver. So they're opening they've committed to opening here. Everything's just taking a lot longer than we expected, and we did expect that to kind of be a they were going first, and bringing people in. And we've gotten a presentation for a food hall right by the sports stable as well, which we think will be another one of those things that will let the mom and pop folks be able to come in more. So it's just the timing of everything. It's
Yeah.
just dragging. It's
But
so slow.
in the course of timing, it just seems to me that maybe there's some sort of smaller incentive to help small businesses come in alongside of those larger ones that are a little bit better established and understand the dynamics of the space that they're going into.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions for Superior? I'll just say, I think one of the pieces I'm going to be listening for tonight, out of my own curiosity and thinking about the regional opportunities, is small businesses and what that means to Boulder County versus commercial and or corporations. And I don't believe they're all the same, but I'm just going to be interested. Is that something that we'd need to think about? I heard it described as mom and pop, and but really interested just to hear the conversation tonight. Thank you for starting us off, Councilmember Kawash. We appreciate you. Let's see. What about Ken? Did you have something that you wanted to share? I'm just going to call on people in an order that makes absolutely no sense, because that's where we're at right now. And it's okay, Ken, if you didn't have anything specific, but I just wanted to offer that. And we can come back to you as well. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry about that. No, I don't have anything specific. We only have one mom and pop business in town. And we nurture.
It's a little hard to hear you, Ken. And you weren't muffled earlier, so maybe try again.
Did you hear me okay?
That's much better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What I said was we have one business in the town of Jamestown. It's mom and pop, and we nurture that business.
Thank you. Absolutely appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. What about I'm looking at Louisville on my screen.
Thank you, Marta. Yes, Louisville is working very hard on economic vitality. We're focusing on business attraction, retention, and expansion. We have an economic vitality committee that meets monthly and invites all of the businesses to come and participate and tell us what their challenges are, what they're doing well at, what their needs are. We focus the business attraction efforts, work with real estate partners, brokers, and businesses to bring new businesses to Louisville and to create additional jobs and increase revenues. We were actually happy to hear that the county was not going to increase minimum wage as much as they originally planned. We're also working on retention and expansion efforts. They're conducted through annual retention visits by our economic vitality director. We have business meetings, newsletters, and communication efforts and more. Once a business is here, we want to create a strong environment for them to continue to be successful and to grow. Our business meetings include also monthly, what we call business beat meetings, where we focus on a particular type of business or a particular location of the businesses. And we invite all of the business owners in that category to come together and discuss what their challenges and successes are. Generally, we're regularly evaluating policy and programs to ensure supporting and strong business environment and bringing forward new updates as gaps are identified and needs change. We just did citywide survey, business survey, where we got some good feedback on what the businesses want. And the metrics that we're using to measure our progress are job growth, average wages, the vacancy rate, and business satisfaction. And it seems to be going all right, better than it was during COVID. So we're starting to recover, I guess. And describing the collaborative work in this topic area, we are collaborating we're part of the US 36 collaborative, which is critical for all of the towns along 36. Any time that we can partner with another neighboring community, it's just so helpful for both communities to promote the business and not compete against each other. We're also coordinating with Boulder for the Sundance Film Festival, see what we can do for that. We're particularly interested in getting some transportation out here so that they can get off at 36 and go to our restaurants, stay in our hotels, and go to some of our art and music events while they're here in town. So overall, we're just trying to find out what it is the businesses want and finding a way to get that for them. Our biggest challenge right now in financial issues is building some affordable or low-income housing, getting the Red Tail Ridge development finished. It has begun. They did the ribbon cutting and the groundbreaking. They're going to be Avista Hospital is going to be moving over to Red Tail Ridge, so they'll have at least 2 points of entry, which is one of their biggest concerns in their current location, is there is only one road in and out. Marshall Fire being mentioned, that was a huge issue. They did manage to keep the fire away from the hospital, but we were just thankful, and I'm sure Superior was also, that the schools weren't in session when the fire came through, because that would have been just a disaster. So that's what we're trying to keep up with.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilmember Fahey? Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, Councilmember Fahey, every day looking out of my classroom, I watch your Red Tail Ridge being developed. So it literally is across the street from my classroom. And I show my students, I said, see out there, that's Red Tail Ridge, because they're asking about it. So anyhow, thought you'd enjoy that.
I did have one question on what you were sharing about, maybe I have 2 questions. You talked about your Economic Vitality Committee. Is that separate than the Louisville Chamber?
Yes, the Economic Vitality Committee is 3 members of City Council.
Okay, and then the community
We
members of
invite
partners that you were talking
any
about.
business owner to come and talk with us.
Okay, and then the other questions, you said you were doing a survey on what businesses are wanting. Is
We
that
did a
something?
business survey, yes.
Is that something that you would be able to share with us just as a resource for folks who are wanting to do those types of
I can look into it. I can,
Okay.
in fact, Sama Fox, our deputy city manager, is on. Maybe she could answer that question.
Yes, we can share that. I'll follow up with that.
Okay, that's great.
Thanks, Sama.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay, well, great. I'm gonna go totally out of order. I'm gonna go to Boulder County.
That's me, and I'm ready. Hi,
All right.
everyone. In true Peyton fashion, I hope to get to know you with our collaborative work over the years. I created a PowerPoint slide, so would be happy to talk about that. Here is Boulder County's business development efforts. I'm going to talk quickly, and I'm also going to invite both Yvette and Commissioner Loachman to fill in any gaps that I may be missing. Two dollar metrics that I wanted to highlight is we have two methods of direct funding to our economic vitality partners. One of them is we were able to give direct funding in the form of grants this year, $178,250. We also did direct funding to 19 small businesses in unincorporated Boulder County. Each small business received $5,000 in direct funding for a total of $95,000. Just as an asterisk, and as you all probably know very well, we are in a constrained budget environment. So while we were able to provide this funding in 2025, we're unsure if we can match these same numbers in 2026. Two additional efforts that I would like to share with you is the adjustment to the local minimum wage schedule, as already noted. There is a link here for ease of access to the press release if you'd like to get more information. And we also began a conversation with the local businesses in our community about 2 weeks ago now. The first conversation was facilitated by Commissioner Loachman, really an opportunity for folks to connect, either small businesses to connect with each other, to connect with local resources, and to hear what folks are needing or wanting from county support. Two other things I would like to highlight that we have completed this year. We published our Boulder County market profile in partnership with the Boulder Chamber. There's lots of wonderful information about the health of Boulder County's economy. Opportunities to get involved is another thing, how to become a vendor, how to work with our organization, lots of wonderful information there. So please be sure to look at it. And then additionally, how to become a Boulder County vendor, how to work with our procurement team, how to bid for work that the county is looking to pay for is another wonderful resource that we put together this year. So that was way faster than 5 minutes. I'm going to pause and invite Commissioner Loachman and Yvette, if I filled or missed any gaps, or to please fill anything in.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think what I would maybe ask is if you could put those links into the chat in case there's somebody that wants to take a look at those, and or they'll get sent out with the summary. And happy to hear, Yvette, if there's anything else you wanted to add on, and then we can open it up to questions from folks.
No, I think that's a great summary. I just also appreciate the varied forms of recovery that we're in. Also recognizing the vacancy rate is systemic across the county. So I appreciate that and the continued eye on that, and also looking forward to help in any way that we can around Sundance. I think we always keep our ear to the ground about retention or opportunities, and the county in general passes those along to municipalities for businesses looking to expand or look for space. We tend to not favor one or the other, so we generally point people in the direction of using those resources online to then identify where they think they want their business. But thanks, Peyton. I thought you did a great job, and I have nothing else, Marta.
That's great. The addition I'll make on Sundance, I'm glad you noted that. And I know there's some interest about maybe this group having some conversation. And I think that might be important, but I want to listen to the rest of the presentations. And I say that because some people have already talked about it. And I too have led some of those conversations really focused on how might Sundance really start from the beginning and consider communities of color in their, not just the films, not just the hotel opportunities, not just the vendors, but all of the processes and all of the opportunities. And so I have brought some folks together, including the Latino Chamber, some representatives from the Nepalese community, NAACP regionally and from a state level. And so I know there's people asking and there's some different conversations. So I will be interested in what we may or may not decide with this group or who might be that person. And I think maybe Councilmember Cowish, I think you've also had a conversation with some folks too. So any questions for, I'm gonna say for Peyton, but for Boulder County from y'all tonight? All right. That means you did an excellent job, Peyton. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see. I am looking at Broomfield.
And I do have a presentation, so let me get all settled. And by me, I do mean that our Economic Vitality Director, Robert Smith, made this for me and slapped my name on it. So I'm pretending that this is all my brilliant work. It is absolutely not. The credit belongs to staff here. But I'll kick things off.
Great. We can see it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Also, my internet has been a little spotty, so apologies in advance if anything occurs. But I'll kick things off. I'm proud to share how Broomfield's Economic Vitality Department and Workforce Development Center work every day to strengthen our local economy, support our businesses, and ensure residents have access to meaningful job opportunities. Their combined efforts help us attract new companies, support existing employers, and build a thriving, resilient community. So we got a list of things, and I don't know what's going on with my display. It's a little cut off. Apologies for that. But one of our core responsibilities is business attraction, which is bringing new, thriving businesses into Broomfield. Here's what our team does to make it possible. They attend pre-application meetings to help guide projects early and efficiently. They meet with developers and investors to understand market needs and align them with local opportunities. They serve as staff liaisons for land use and building entitlement processes, helping new projects move through the system smoothly. When appropriate, the team works with council to support new projects through public benefit incentive agreements, evaluated carefully on a case-by-case basis. They build strong relationships with brokers, consultants, and site selectors, ensuring Broomfield stays top of mind. They participate in conferences and deal-making events where major business decisions happen, and they administer a new restaurant incentive program. And we do have some recent wins, which are really exciting. So a lot of you know about the Flatiron Shopping Mall that's going through a big redevelopment for us. So we love to see it. I will say I actually go there quite a bit now just to walk around because I think it's super hip and super bumpin'. The Zoomers are apparently into it, is what I've heard. So kids are into it. But some recent wins, retail edition. Some of these are in the mall. Some of these are small businesses, but the Lego store, Anthropologie, Abercrombie and Fitch, Offline by Aerie, Sweet Play, Cherry Cricket, Restaurant Depot, and LaBelle Bakery. Business and industry growth, we have a lot of that, including Peak Energy, Raven Space Systems, MMA Space, Synaptic, and Horizon Organics. And then we also have some new additions, the Palisade Park Amphitheater, Blue Oak Chiropractic, Palisade Kindercare, Launch Entertainment, and Someplace Else Brewery. So some cool stuff. And then kind of on this opposite side, we'll talk a little bit about some additional things. While attracting businesses is of course important, supporting the businesses we already have is equally essential. Our business retention and expansion efforts include conducting local business visits to understand challenges and opportunities, hosting Broomfield Business Week, offering 7 workshops for local entrepreneurs and employers, supporting workforce jobs, center job fairs for services for both businesses and job seekers, engaging with regional partners to align resources and strategies, promoting funding tools like enhanced Broomfield grants, entrepreneur microgrants, and state programs, including enterprise zones and CHIP zones, and sharing timely updates through the Be in the Loop Economic Vitality and Housing newsletter free to any resident or businesses. So some recent successes that we have, really cool. The Hi-Fi development at Flatiron Crossing, expansions from major employers like Lululemon, Sierra Space Systems, and Quantum Lab, Park 36 and Midpoint redevelopments. We have over $700,000 in enhanced Broomfield grants awarded to 40 local businesses and $24,000 in microgrants awarded to 6 small enterprises. And notable recognition, the 2025 ICMA Best in Community Economy Awards and the 2024 EDCC Large Community of the Year. So we got some cool recognitions, which makes us feel very special and very happy. So that's this behemoth of a slide. I have one more. It's the last one for you guys. Our work is guided by clear measures of success. driving business growth and innovation, including successful attraction, retention, and expansion, building strong connections among property owners, brokers, and prospective enterprises, supporting entrepreneurs and incremental business growth, increasing job creation, commercial activity, and alignment with community values, and expanding and preserving income-aligned housing, ensuring residents earning 30 to 120% of area median income have access to stable, high-quality homes. This includes programs like senior home sharing, home repair, and down payment assistance, because of course we do need to make sure we're still able to house people who work in our various enterprises. And then when it comes to regional collaborations, obviously no work happens in isolation. That is why we are all here. We are stronger because of our partnerships. We collaborate with the US 36 Corridor Stakeholder Group, connecting efforts in Interlochen, Flatirons Crossing, and Arista, the Colorado Hub for Health Impact, supporting health innovation, the US 36 Collaborative with Boulder, Lafayette, Louisville, Superior, and Westminster. Shout out to all of you, our lovely partners. The Front Range Economic Collaborative, the North Metro Small Business Development Center, which has been a great resource for entrepreneurs, Downtown Colorado Inc., and the Colorado Municipal League, helping us align policy and best practices, the Broomfield Housing Solutions Forum, advancing local housing strategies, working with the state's Office of Economic Development and International Trade. We closed 2 prospects, so that was the Raven Space Systems and Peak Energy businesses we attracted. And then, of course, the Economic Development Council of Colorado, our statewide partner in economic vitality. So together, these efforts ensure that Broomfield continues to be a vibrant, inclusive, and opportunity-rich community for our businesses and workforce and our residents. So that's what I got, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions for Broomfield? Go ahead, Mayor Rogan.
Hi, thank you for that presentation. That was great. I have one question. So you have a business week in Broomfield. Can you give any insight into what the content is of the sessions that you have?
Yeah, so the business week, let me get you more information about the exact sessions. I think that's worth doing. But in addition to that, we do a really nice proclamation proclaiming Small Businesses Week. So to bring attention to all of that. And the Be in the Loop update is always very helpful for that. So we send that out to, I think it has at least like 7,000 residents signed up. It's a good bit. So we do make sure that people get eyes on that. But for the specifics, let me get back to you on that one. That's a good
Thank you.
question. I'll send you my
Thank
email.
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Additional questions? I just wonder, it sounds like this is a department at
Yeah,
Broomfield.
so
How many
that's a
people?
great question. So we do have, right, we do have the Broomfield Chamber of Commerce, of course, but we do also have the Economic Vitality Department. So we do have, it's a small but mighty crew, and they do a lot of kind of the technical aspects of that. So one of the important things is seeing whether incentives make sense, what extent they make sense, and like who to kind of how we divvy out grants and that sort of thing. So yeah, we do have a department, and we're also very lucky, and this is a special one. So we are very spoiled here in Broomfield. We were very lucky to have an economist, which is really cool. So separate from this department, but Jeff Romine is our economist, and it's very nice to have that. Our city and county manager joked that he's like a Ferrari that you get to take out to drive once in a while, and it's like very, very cool, kind of overkill for a lot of problems, but very, very, very cool. And we're very lucky to have him.
Thank you.
Do you rent him out? Like, can we?
Do I rent him out? That's a great question. I'll ask him.
Thank you.
You.
All right. What about, I think we've got Longmont, Erie, Boulder, Lions, and I don't know, Niwot, if you had anything you were wanting to add in. So why don't we go in that order? How does that sound? And I think I said Longmont, Erie, and then Boulder. And then
I think so.
thank you.
Jen Newton is here to present.
Great. Thanks, Jen. It's coming up here on the screen.
All right, then I got my mute going.
We can hear you now.
Great. So I think like a lot of the presentations this evening, it really is focused on kind of the system that is supporting businesses. So we focus a lot on collaboration. I'll just kind of go through this quickly. So we have an approach to attracting businesses, which is traditional economic development and tactical interventions. I have a couple of examples. We're also working on redevelopment efforts. We support a number of partner organizations that focus on business development and retention. And then we have been developing some new programs. So I'll talk briefly about that too. So one example of an incentive deal that we did that's actually, of course, pre-pandemic was an incentive that we did for Smuckers. But really it's focused on kind of the manufacturing and jobs. So really have been focused a lot in Longmont on primary employers. We also have done incentives for large retailers. We mostly don't incentivize retail, but this is a kind of a big public-private partnership that had some other benefits. Of course, reducing retail leakage, but also some benefits for affordable housing. I won't go into specifics because just for time. And then we have been focusing also on redevelopment. So one of the projects that we're really focused on right now is the First and Main redevelopment, which is the long anticipated First and Main Transit Center that will be a place where we have a bus bay RTD partnership where we will also have some parking for microtransit and other parking for bicycles, and it will be wrapped by mixed use. So that effort is just kicking off. We're planning to build the garage starting in October. We also have a number of partners that we work with, the Downtown Development Authority, which manages events and has incentives for downtown businesses, and then has been focused also on beautification and parking downtown. There's a number of accomplishments, and I won't go through all of them, but the Hotel Longmont is under construction, 84 rooms. So that's an exciting addition to our downtown. There will be a food hall that's getting set to start construction and other efforts. But I think downtown has really come alive over the last number of years, and this hotel is really exciting as well. We also have the Longmont Economic Development Partnership, which focuses on creation and retention of jobs, and in particular looking at those primary employers, which are those that export 50% or more of their goods or services outside of Boulder County. And again, I won't go through all of these points, but they have really been successful at that. Here are a number of accomplishments, the most recent of which is Micron expansion to Mega Lab incentive negotiation, which was just completed, but also wanted to highlight the enterprise zone recertification, which I think was a collaborative effort with other folks who are on this call, or other folks within those organizations that are on this call.
Jen, if I can ask you real quick, on my screen, the slides aren't moving.
They're not?
You are.
I am going through them.
Okay. And it might be me, so I just wanted to check.
No, same here.
Nobody
Okay.
else is seeing it? That's so interesting. Let me try.
Maybe, yeah, that might be the solution, is to start over.
Start
Thank
again.
you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry that it wasn't. Oh, wait, let me see.
And you'll have the opportunity to just send it to us too. I can see a different version now.
You can.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to just really quickly, and I apologize. I would have, I'm just going to back up to go through these quickly. So Downtown Development Authority, here's that picture of the hotel that I was so excited about, which is an 84-room boutique hotel, and just information a little bit about the food hall. And I apologize that I was totally seeing my slides advance. It
That's
looks
okay. Don't
the
worry.
same. So the Longmont Economic Development Partnership, which I went through, talking about quality jobs and focus on primary employers. And I won't repeat myself, but here's a number of accomplishments that they have focused on, including, as I mentioned, the Micron expansion and the enterprise zone recertification. We also work with the Latino Chamber, which is helping to have networking opportunities and enabling students to have real world experiences and hosting workshops. We work with the Colorado Enterprise Fund, which helps small businesses, and I'm sure a number of folks on this call also work with those organizations. Visit Longmont, which is our funded by the tourism or funded by the lodging tax for tourism destination marketing. We also have just recently stood up a tourism improvement district, which is a fee-based hotel. So it's like the lodging tax, but it's a fee that will also fund some marketing efforts and some potentially capital improvements. So maybe like at some point, maybe a shuttle or something that could help with moving people around. But it's just getting off the ground now. Work with the Boulder SBDC to provide programs and services to support small businesses, which I'm sure a number of you do as well. And then we do have an advanced Longmont ecosystem group. The logos for which are kind of at the bottom there. So it's a number of folks that I've mentioned already. And then some other partners like Front Range and San Bernardino Valley School District to do some, this is an example of something that's just being launched, which is a business roadmap that helps businesses kind of check all of those items that they would need to do as they're starting a new business and making sure that they're speaking to all the right people. And I think we're looking to do more expansion of that work to make sure that people can find the information that they need as they're moving through programs, talking to all of the departments, the city clerk, planning building department, other parts of different organizations that will help businesses get off the ground. I mentioned that we're starting a couple of new programs. One of those is that we're hoping to have an accelerated opportunity for people, businesses that meet certain criteria aligned with City Council's goals to get through the planning and development process, similar to kind of what Colorado Springs does. So we are just starting that, and that effort is hopefully something that we can launch early next year. So I apologize that my slides weren't necessarily advancing, but thank you.
No, it's totally okay.
Interrupting me.
I was trying to find a time to jump in. Don't worry. Any questions for Longmont? And just for your information, Jen, if you want to send that over, the presentation, and then all of the presentations and links will get sent out to folks as a follow-up. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. Jen, would you expand a little bit and explain to people Longmont's role with Sundance from this year's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like some others on the call, we're certainly hoping to have some visitors who will join us, who are staying in our hotels, including that new one that's being built and will be open. And we're working collaboratively with Boulder and Visit Boulder and the group that's meeting tomorrow to talk about how do we move people around, the transit and shuttle component of that, and then Visit Longmont was one of the entities that did put a small amount of money that is ongoing for the term of their commitment. So it was $50,000 a year, and we're excited to be a partner with the organizations that are helping to support Sundance.
Thank you. And I do want to just say something around anything like Sundance or any other big opportunities. Let's not forget big cities about our smaller towns in Boulder County and the region, because Lions would also love to have some of that business. I know Niwot has been talking about how can we get people to stop in Niwot. And so that is really the beauty, but it's also the call, is my belief, for those of us who have a lot of staff and attorneys and opportunities and funding, to make sure that our neighbors also are included in those conversations. So I would encourage us to think about the whole region. Thank you for the presentation. I'm trying to get us kind of watching the time. So I think who's next? Was it Erie?
Thank you, said Erie.
Thank you, Jillian.
Yeah, no worries. And I'll ask Councilman Pastorelli go to first if he has anything to add.
Yeah, so thank you, Martha. For us, economic redevelopment is working in conjunction with Chamber of Commerce, and our main goals would be like revitalizing underutilized areas and strengthening local businesses and creating like walkable and vibrant districts, right? So part of it is revitalizing old town and supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs. And also, we're looking in building a town center, which would be like a mixed use development, bringing in more taxes and at the same time connecting the community together. I'd like to hand it over to Julian, who would expand it more.
Sure. Yeah, and like I said earlier, our communications director, Gabby, invited me at the last minute, so I didn't know there was presentations, but and some of this might be a broken record, but happy to go through some of it. Yeah, I've been in Erie for about 4.5 years, been doing economic development in Colorado and the Midwest for 18 years. But when I started in Erie 4.5 years ago, our team, my economic development team, had two people on our staff, and now we're up to five, which is, for a town of our size, is pretty great. But given the growth we're experiencing, it's definitely well in demand. I think over the last 10 years, our population has doubled. In 2015, our population was around 22,000. Now, as of earlier this year, we passed 42,000, which is about 90% growth in the last 10 years. Actually, earlier this year, I think this summer, we were recognized across the country as the 15th fastest growing city in the US. There's BizWest articles out there. There's census data year over year from 23 to 24. I think we grew about almost 10%, which got us good enough for 15th. There was a lot of Texas, Georgia, Texas, Erie, Colorado. So it's pretty cool to be on that list. Based off our current growth projections, in our latest comp plan, we're projecting a build out of about 75,000 people by 2050. So we're about halfway there. Lots of room still to go. A lot of new residential growth is helping support new commercial, retail, and industrial growth, which is great news for us. Most of that, I know this is a Boulder County group. Most of that growth is in our Weld County side of the line. Weld County is pretty big about supporting growth, lots of new opportunities, incentives, et cetera, in Weld County. So most of that is out towards our I-25 corridor on the east side of town. Our economic development team, my staff, focuses on a few different areas. A lot of this is pretty consistent with what everybody else has said tonight. I've got staff dedicated to business retention and expansion, staff focused on supporting new business startups, entrepreneurship, proactive efforts on attracting new business, desirable business for the town. My job is a little bit of everything else, supporting the town's URA, helping our commercial developers through their site planning, entitlement, construction process, managing all of our now 7 new URA plan areas across the town, overseeing all of our incentive agreements, leading all of our public-private partnerships. Our councilmember mentioned the town center project, which is kind of front of mind for us right now, but we've also got about a 2,000-acre future planning area out at I-25 and Erie Parkway. And then we just finished our 9-mile corner project on 287 a couple of years ago. I think across the team, for business retention, like everybody else said, we provide ongoing resources, grant funding to our business owners. We meet regularly in person, on site with every one of our 300 plus businesses across town. We started doing monthly newsletters about 2 years ago, and we also in our team administer the town's business licensing process. So kind of that one-stop shop as folks are coming in looking for places to open up business, helping them locate where they want to go, helping them negotiate terms with potential landlords, and then ultimately getting through everything from licensing, permitting, certificates of occupancy until they actually get open for business, and then helping them there as well. Um, we have regular business roundtables throughout the year that our electeds come to. We're holding our annual business celebration event next Friday. So if you find yourself in Erie downtown next Friday, feel free to stumble by. Then we've got relationships with our chamber and our local EDC, like everybody else has said. We do have a very proactive focus on new business attraction, attracting new businesses to our community. We work with our property owners, our retail center owners, our brokers to promote the available space we have. We have a real-time property viewer on our website that helps folks look for available space, finding regular up-to-date information from our brokers, which includes retail, office, industrial, and lots available for new development. We also proactively go out and find new businesses ourselves. You know, if the community says we want more restaurants, more breweries, more bike shops, more whatever, we go out and find those ourselves and try to recruit them back to the community. This past year, this past summer, we approved our first ever town economic incentive policy since becoming a now new home rule community now a couple of years ago, granting tax rebates, fee rebates, cash grant programs. It's the first incentive policy the town's had since our inception. I think we are in this group, especially. I think Broomfield maybe shares a similar position. We're a little bit uniquely positioned on our county line. So Erie is split jointly between Boulder County and Weld County. It's a very special blend of two very polar opposite types, if you can imagine that. For Boulder County's sake, we were just at the BizWest event with our Boulder County folks 2 weeks ago, presenting at the annual real estate conference in Boulder, probably 2 weeks ago tomorrow. In Northern Colorado, for the Weld County side of things, we're partners with our upstate Colorado folks in Weld County. There's a regional effort between Weld County and Larimer County called NOCO Ready that involves all the municipal and county partners across both of those counties. And then regionally beyond that, in the Front Range, we're really involved with the Front Range Economic Collaborative. It's kind of the peer network of ED professionals in the Front Range, hosted by the Metro Denver EDC down in Denver. And our business development specialist on my team, Jack, is actually the chair this year of that FREC program with Metro Denver. So we're pretty involved with that group as well. I hate rambling and I'm probably rambling, so happy to answer any questions, guys.
Great timing. Thank you. Any questions for Erie? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here this evening. Let's see, Boulder.
Thank you so much. I have with me tonight Jennifer Pincinel, who is our Economic Vitality Manager. So I'm going to have her kick things off. They're working on some really, really cool stuff in her group. So Jennifer, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Heather. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I will forward and not go through it because I know we're getting short on time. I guess in a nutshell, I would say ditto. We have a lot of the same partners. We have a lot of the same activities with business retention and attraction, et cetera. The big things we're working on this year are really enhancing our small business support. We're also looking at enhancing and creating new tools. We're expanding our business incentive program. We're also reactivating our Boulder Urban Renewal Authority. We're looking at a DDA and some other things. I wanted to talk just a little bit about Sundance because yes, it's one of the things that we're looking at is how we can share all of the benefits that will come from Sundance. And the Boulder SBDC, which we host, is looking at developing workshops for small businesses so they know and start to get an idea of how they can work with Sundance. So that's starting with the Visit Boulder and others kind of talking with Sundance to look at what some of the opportunities are. They'll also be talking with the Small Business Development Center in Utah to get a sense of what they were able to do to help small businesses benefit from Sundance. Um, and then we are members of the US 36 Coalition, and it's been wonderful. But I also had a couple other examples of how we work together. And one is this workforce to help kind of with workforce and other issues. We've developed industry support partnerships or industry sector partnerships, and that's been led by the Boulder Chamber, but they're working with regional partners. And the idea is you bring together industry and business leaders, but you also bring together workforce, economic development organizations, local government, et cetera, so we can identify and help address some of the needs of businesses. And in many cases, it's all around workforce. And so they've developed specialized internships and apprenticeships and skills-based training. So those are things we're working on. And the other thing that we've been doing is working on resilience. So as a community during the pandemic, and then also during the Marshall Fire, kind of got together and did a lot in terms of collaboration and helping each other through it. And one of the things we wanted to do is document that, because it's really easy to forget a few years out. So we documented it. We're working on identifying best practices as well as lessons learned. We'll be putting that together in a playbook that we'll share. And we've actually reached out and talked to other folks within all your communities that we're working with businesses. And then so we're working on that playbook. And then at the same time, the Boulder SBDC has received a grant from the Economic Development Administration to help with business preparedness, response, and recovery efforts. So they put on a workshop a few weeks ago, and that went pretty well. And they're developing content for a website, so there'll be kind of online guides that businesses can use to prepare for, and things like continuity of operations plans and that sort of thing, as well as how they can, recover from disasters and other disruptions. That's what we have.
That's great. Thank you. And I want to acknowledge Councilmember Weiner. If you want to do a quick introduction, that was perfect timing for you to join when Boulder was presenting.
I'm Tara Weiner, Boulder City Council. How's that? Quick enough?
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for Boulder? I might just offer, because part of this conversation is going to move into what presentations would be helpful for this group in 2026, or topics similar to this one. I've heard some ideas that might be good to narrow in on versus kind of the big business development is huge. And one of those offerings might be the work of the workforce development centers and/or workforce development council from the state level, who do sector partnerships. And that's where some of the work that the Boulder Chamber is working on now stemmed from. But I'm a member of that council. And so that might be just an offering to kind of share what is happening there for people to tap into as well. So that was just something I flagged from the conversation. Thanks, everybody. Let's see here. Naiwat, did you have anything that you wanted to prepare? And then we're going to go to Lions.
No, NIWAT is not as organized as these very impressively resourced cities. But we did respond to the survey about agenda items for 2026. And our top topic is basically affordable housing, because for workforces, obviously, that's a huge pinch point. And when we look across the county, or even more regionally, it seems like the cost of food is pretty much the same here as it is out in Frederick or somewhere else. But what's very different is the cost of housing. So that was our number one survey request for agendas. And the second one was related to Sundance and what's happening already. It sounds like a lot, but what's happening and how can NIWAT play a role in Sundance and making Sundance successful.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Lions.
Thank you. Appreciate all of the conversation and the recognition that yes, smaller communities would love to be able to participate in Sundance. Um, so in Lions, you all might not know this, but we are actually 99% small business, locally owned business. We have one corporate business in town, and that is the Circle K gas station. So our economic environment can look a lot different than everybody else's. That having been said, we do have a URA for our downtown business district, and we get a lot of support from Main Street, Dola's Main Street, which is absolutely great. We have, as if you've driven through, you may have noticed still have a couple of like gaps in our downtown smile, right? There's the corner of Main and Third, which is anxiously awaiting a 79-room hotel to be built. And we anticipate that that's going to happen this year. Construction's going to start this year. And then 402 Main Street, which burned down in a fire in 2022, right around this time of year, is now being actively built, which is fantastic. And it's going to be a two-story building with retail on the main floor and then office space on top. So we're excited to get that going. One of the things that we do in Lions, because we're a seasonal economy of small businesses that tend to struggle in the winter, is after the flood, the USDA funded a revolving loan fund for Lions. And so it is a 0% interest loan fund that many businesses take advantage of in the winter months to get them through, and then pay it off during the summer months. We've had a very, very low failure rate with that. I think it's maybe 2 in the last 10 years, of very small amounts. So that's been highly successful. And, our staff we only have 18 people on staff, and that includes our seasonal employees who work in the parks in the summer. So we're really strictly limited to what we can do with economic development. We no longer have a chamber of commerce, but we do have an economic vitality commission that does a lot of the heavy lifting. And then the big news, if I didn't mention it, is we just got certified as a creative district. And so we are so excited to take advantage of everything that comes along with that. And the creative district is looking for an executive director right now. It's a part-time job, little plug. If you know anybody, let me know.
That's great. Thank you for that update. Any questions for Lions? All right. Thank you all. Who did I miss? Did I get everybody? Okay. Going once, going twice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm watching the time. We're at 7:14. So clearly we didn't stop for a break, which is why I did not interrupt any of the speakers, which is okay because we've moved our meeting to 90 minutes instead of 2 hours to just be thoughtful of our mental health as well, with long work days. So I am going to jump in here to our regional working group on homelessness update, and I'll try to be brief on that piece. And then we'll talk about kind of the 2026 topics and plans that a couple people have already talked about a little bit. And so get ready to share out your community events and those types of announcements too before we finish up. And I'm going to, let's see here. I guess I'm driving the share. This could be a problem. Sorry, that was not what I was anticipating. And I'll start talking about this as I'm trying to figure out how to share in the Zoom here, just because I've got too many screens open, of course.
Commissioner, if you'd like to email me the presentation, I'd be happy to share.
I will maybe give me or tell me if you can see. I don't think so, though. Okay, let me do that. Thank you. It's showing on my screen, except that now it's gone to a different screen. Okay, I I apologize because I had it up and it was supposedly ready to go. And I'm also recovering from a cold. So, all the things are happening at the end of the year. Thanks for your grace, everybody. So this is what I wanted to do there. If you remember, this was maybe, gosh, now I think it's been close to 2 years, but maybe it hasn't quite been that long. But that we had a meeting with elected officials from around the region in Lafayette at the Boulder County's Southeast Hub. A lot of you were in the room. There was some community organizations, some previous elected officials, folks who have now joined in on the group. But the call to action there was really what's happening around this topic of folks who are experiencing homelessness in Boulder County. And we had asked to have a convening so that people could kind of hear about what does that look like in Nederland versus City of Boulder versus Superior and et cetera, all around the region. Again, thinking about the whole region and not necessarily what is the most visible, depending on where you're driving or where you're riding the bus through, et cetera. So that ask there was for a group of folks, and I'm giving a little bit extra background just because I know there's some elected officials here participating and even newer staff that may not have been part of that. Thank you, Mark, for helping. And so that group then was turned into a subcommittee of elected officials. So you've got a representative from your area, your city or your town that has been working over the last year and a half with this group. And what we are working on at this point is really focusing on the group talked about a couple different pieces that I won't read through the group names of who's on there. You can take a look at this later. The agreed upon purpose is our collective work to ensure that homelessness is rare, brief, and one-time occurring. Our collective work is about helping people through compassion, support systems, and social justice. And this group then prioritized for 2025, which we are finishing now, the year, but the group was to really focus initially on eliminating barriers to accessory dwelling units and backyard cottages. And part of that background conversation was, if you think about earlier this year, what was also happening, and even at the end of 2024, when we were looking at legislation, like what else is happening and what can we, again, work smarter and not harder, and what can we do regionally, take advantage of some of the other state legislation and conversations that were going on at the same time to address big issues around the housing crisis. ADU is one of those. It is not all of it, and there's plenty of opportunity for additional work and other work is happening. But this group said, okay, what would that look like if we could help eliminate those barriers? The second one was to develop a siting criteria and a financial analysis for a new tiny home community. And that was based on a presentation that was brought to the group to really look at something. If you think about the Veterans Community Project, something similar to that and could be different and might be different structures. That is, and I say this is on the priority for 2025. That list was put together at the end of 2024. But just to give you an idea of kind of what this group has been focused on. The third one was to look at targeting 10 to 12% of new affordable housing for permanent supportive housing. And that was coming out of some asks from all of the folks who were in the room initially. And one of they narrowed down from different council members. So those were the priorities selected, understanding and knowing not all of those were going to happen immediately, but just really trying to prioritize. And then if we look at the next one, really the first one of those items is what was focused on in 2025. And so we are working on alignment across jurisdictions. You can imagine, just like everything we talked about, when we start looking at what does a detached ADU or what does a conversion of space, meaning a garage or a basement or other space in a property, to be able to turn it into an ADU. What does that look like from a process standpoint? What are the zoning requirements? What's parking? What are all of the different issues that people are coming up against throughout our region? It's different from city to town, and some cities and towns are further along than others. And so there's been a lot of really great conversations. We have created together collectively an ADU toolkit, and that is the group has spent a few months working on that, and it's now in going through an accessibility review here at the county. And the group earlier in November, we hosted an ADU alternative financing roundtable because some of the biggest questions and most common questions were around, okay, if you wanted to do a conversion of space, how would you finance that? And really thinking about people who may not have $2 million of home equity ready to tap into accessible, thinking about people who are on fixed income, so might be really house rich and cash poor. That's hard to get a loan in those types of situations. It's hard to do just traditional finance. So thinking about, again, to do this work, how do we create the most accessibility for folks who need to be able to stay in their properties and are looking for multi-generational income or multi-generational households, et cetera, to be able to live in place was a lot of things that people talked about. So that is those are the activities that we've been working on in 2025, and just thinking about what's happening here next. We are going to, of course, have some new elected members that will join in 2026. So that, just catching folks up on that. We're talking about some of the creative financing solutions. January 28th is the next meeting that this group will be having. This is again this is not consortium, but this is just a separate group of work being led by Boulder County and Heidi Grove with Boulder County. Susana Lopez Baker has been part of it, and our county administrator. So our Boulder County staff has really been trying to ask the question, how might we, because we have a lot of resources and staff, provide some of the templates and tools that everybody will be able to use and then make specific to their own town and city. So for example, that toolkit will then it has in there literally insert link to your city or your town policy or your et cetera, but creating something that everyone will be able to use a lot more easier than starting from scratch. And then we're anticipating, just based on more recent conversations with that group, that in the first quarter, everyone's going to be putting some type of an ADU fair, workshop, panel discussion, et cetera, to educate community members, because we believe that there are probably a lot of folks throughout our region that aren't aware of that Senate bill and that legislation that allowed this to be even an opportunity for folks to tap into on their own property. So again, this is how can we work together with the cities and towns that have the opportunity to use ADUs in a new way. And I'll also share that this is our work, and that's I think that's great if you want to pull that down, and then we'll open up for a couple minutes of questions for our cities and towns to kind of move forward on that work. But again, resourcing and being in conversation together to hear what people are confronting, but it will also inform the work of Boulder County. And I'm talking about unincorporated Boulder County, because we too have been asked how might we open up some opportunities, additional opportunities outside of what is currently in our land use code for ADU. So that is the quickest summary of what that update is, just to keep kind of people in the know. Again, some of the members here are also members of that other group. Any questions, and maybe like one or two questions so we can get to that last piece here? Thank you. And I will, again, if folks who aren't, quote unquote members of that task force or that group, but do want to participate in the January 28th, it's a Wednesday evening, that meeting will be a virtual meeting, and Strong Towns will be presenting and doing really a workshop session with us. They participated in the roundtable that happened at the beginning of November. So it's really going to be tailored to where they know we are already. It won't be a one-on-one, what is an ADU? So they're really working with us to make it worth all of our time to be there. So that is anybody who wants to participate would be open to welcome to do that. Thank you. All right. So two things. I think what we're gonna have to do some chat here for upcoming events and announcements and things like that. But I did want to just touch base in regards to, and thanks, Mark, for helping on that. Uh, the survey that's already been done, if you haven't gotten a chance to do it, it looked like Nick maybe sent that out again this afternoon for the consortium ideas and topics. So if you think about this, last December we went through this together and chose the different topics of what we have now finished for the year. And so that's really the next assignment. Commissioner Claire Levy will be taking over for 2026 in facilitation for this group. And so I was going to try and get through that this evening, but that's part of the reason why I wasn't super worried about it, because she really wants to be part of that discussion and wants to have a say in what Consortium of Cities works on and talks about next year. So you've just a reminder to take that survey to finish that up. What I will tell you right now, I was just going to share out the topics that are in there. But now it's not opening on my screen. So if I get it open, I'll just put it in the chat of the topics that folks have already input, just so that folks are aware. That might be helpful. So share outs in regards to announcements, upcoming events, things that are happening. I know there's a parade happening in Lyons this weekend. Oh, there it is. Parade of Lights, Saturday at 6:30. Anyone else?
Yeah, Longmont on the 13th.
Ours is this Friday.
Ours is this Friday also. Louisville.
How are we going to get to Louisville Lions? Who else was Friday?
Erie's on Friday.
Okay.
If only there was
Yeah,
some
our tree lighting. Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say Broomfield's tree lighting ceremony is at 5:30 on Friday too. So we need a time turner here.
Well, if you want to do something on another weekend, the Longmont's is the 13th at 5:30 to 6:30, the parade of lights. So
We have the Hanukkah on Pearl on the 15th. So no one's busy that Monday.
15th. Thank you.
And we have our Old Town
I have one.
Rink open. That's open every day. Weekdays it's 3 till either 7 or 10, and Saturday and Sunday it starts at 10 in the morning. So come and ice skate. That's down on Front Street in Louisville.
Great.
And Niwot has holiday markets and music, carolers, ice sculptures, hot beverages, all kinds of food. And on Saturday, this Saturday and next Saturday from 10 to 4.
Ah.
Thank you. And Carla had a great parade last weekend, I think, and
Yeah.
I was so sick I could not go out and be in the cold, so I missed it.
Oh, I'm sorry
One of
to
my favorite parades. Nope, I was sorry to miss it. Mayor Pro Tem.
yes, I put something in the chat there. Weld County, Shakita Yarborough, Councilmember Yarborough, and I went to this thing in Weld County, looping back to what we were just talking about with business, and they had a Colorado State demographer there. Well, all these good old boys in Weld County were like, they just were all excited about hearing it, and then she just wove the nicest compliment about how they need to have more acceptance of people coming in from other parts of the world and other things like that, and other cultures to do the labor that Weld County has to have to make it successful. And it was fascinating. And so if Boulder County ever gets a chance to get the demographer in there, this she was so polite, so wonderful, but she'll tell us exactly kind of what our future looks like in 20 or 30 years. And it was very clear to Weld County that they need to be much more friendlier to the immigrant than they had been in the past year. So it was fascinating information and really done well. So to just loop back to that, if we could do that sometime when finances are a little bit more solid and better off, I think we'd see a really a lot of good information that all of us could use for future opportunities.
Thank you. And then I saw another one in there, Superior, December 13th for the Winterfest. And I also added into the chat there the topics so far. So just something to think about if you haven't done your survey yet. The topics that have been shared so far were transportation, Sundance, federal impacts, housing, local minimum wage, economic vitality, state budget impacts, and countywide sustainability. So if one of those rings true, then put that in there so that you'll have a second vote. Or if you've got something else on your mind, then put that in there as well. And we are at time. And we'll have anybody who had presentations. Mayor Rogan, did you have something?
Well, I just want to thank you for your service to the consortium over these years, Commissioner Loachman. It has been such a pleasure to be in this group, particularly with you leading it with such heart and dedication. So I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I want to appreciate again staff for all the support that gets us in here with these great conversations and lets us even think about how could we do more work together. And I've got a couple other evening commitments that have got to get more active over the last 6 months. And so something had to move. But hopefully I'll be back in 2027 with this group. What I will ask of all of you is to continue to be asking who is not included in the conversation that y'all are having, especially when you talk about regional work and big topics. I'm going to ask you to really consider how communities of color are impacted. We at Boulder County center everything we do in race, and it's still my belief that we have a lot of work in Boulder County to do together, and it's not just words. We have to do meaningful action, and it's not solely around American Indian, Native American work, but it's also for all of our communities of color. That then allows us to work in the intersectionalities of folks who are also marginalized as LGBTQ and other different marginalized groups. So I just really encourage you folks to do that. If I didn't make that ask, I would not be doing my work. That's just part of the opportunity for me as the only person of color in our Boulder County wide elected official capacity. And so I really appreciate you leaning into the opportunities in all of this work. We have such a great opportunity to do more for Boulder County, and next year is going to get harder and tougher with the continued funding reductions. So I see all of you and appreciate all of the work that you're doing, and certainly again with staff. So was there anybody else that had an additional item that I missed? Because I was looking at a different screen and wasn't looking at y'all beautiful faces in case I missed somebody else trying to get attention. Okay, perfect. Oh, go ahead. Councilmember Fahey, were you going to say something?
I was just going to mention that in addition to the Parade of Lights at 7 o'clock Friday night in Louisville, at 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock, the library is having another, calling it a snowed in function, where there's going to be music and refreshments and photo booth, crafts, everything to get the kids excited. And if you go to the museum, you can also pick up a treat bag for the kids, which is traditional in Louisville, going way back to the coal mining days when they were given a bag with walnuts and an orange, and that was like their big treat of the year. So we're continuing that here.
Sounds like so much fun. Thank you. All right, you all. Well, take care and be safe if you have to get out at all in the next few hours with the sun or the snow and the cold. And thank you all for your work. Have a great night. And thanks, Mark, for running the Zoom this evening.
Thanks all. Good night.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.